Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. I am so glad to have you here today. If you are a returning viewer, welcome. If you're a new viewer, welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's get into it today. Today, I wanted to talk about why you are in the path of your self development and self aware. One thing to definitely keep in mind is to be able to trust yourself. Okay? Is to understand how important it is for you to trust yourself while you are on this journey. Okay? As always on this channel, we talk about self development and how to be more of your best self, right? Um, and so I just wanted to go just a little bit into what that looks like, being able to trust yourself so that you can continue to grow on the path of, you know, self awareness, right? Because we're trying to shine and become the best version of ourselves, right? Okay, so let's get into it. Why is it important, first of all, to trust yourself on this journey? Okay, because if you can't trust yourself, you will not last on this journey and you will not grow consistently on this journey. Okay, a lot of people think they actually trust themselves, but they actually don't. Okay, so when you are on this path and actually doing all that you need to do, like, your shadow work, staying consistent, meditating, right? Um, accumulating more knowledge on this topic, whether it's through books, videos, anything, right? You learn more about yourself and you understand that you really haven't been trusting yourself like you should, right? Because when you trust yourself fully, a lot of the things like doubt, hesitation, um, nervousness, right? They all kind of like disappear. They all go out the window, okay? As the more you learn to trust yourself, the more it'll actually disappear. But you start to recognize this. You start to recognize that you actually don't trust yourself as much as you do. So, trusting yourself is most crucial to this journey, okay? Um, because why? Well, excuse me, a lot of talking today, long day. I'm so glad my day's almost over there. So, why is it important? It's important because if you don't trust yourself, you can you can kind of slack off on this journey. You can kind of say, well, there's no point in for me to do this, or you kind of hesitate to really put yourself in there fully, right? Um, you feel like giving up is okay, it's an option, right? You don't feel motivated to stay on the journey if you don't trust yourself. Okay, so trusting yourself is crucial. Maybe you don't have full trust. Most of us, most humans, do not have full trust within themselves. In the society that we live in today, they teach us not to trust ourselves, but to trust everybody else because they know what's best for us, right? Like, for example, one of the biggest thing in our society is going to the doctors, right? Even going to a counselor or a therapist. They kind of like diagnose you. That means they're telling you what you don't know about yourself because they know you better, right? So that kind of like creates self doubt because, well, how come I didn't know about myself? Like, you may not even, you 90 time, 99.9% of the time don't say this consciously, but your subconscious is constantly recording everything that happens to you throughout your day, everything you experience, everything you hear, everything you touch, everything you smell. And it creates a backstory for all of it in order to make sense of it, okay? And these backstories eventually creates our habits, our thinking, our everything that has to do as long as we're on this earth, like how we participate, what do we participate in. All of this comes from the story that we have been recording subconsciously, right? So a lot of people don't trust themselves. This is why we do a lot of stuff in our society that validate, like, yeah, you should not be trusting yourself because you're not good at it. But beautiful people, I'm here to tell you, you can trust yourself. Nobody knows you better than you know yourself. All you need to know is to tap into yourself. That's all you have to do. Really tap into yourself to understand better. So, this journey, the things that I talk about, that's exactly what it does for us. That's exactly, I'm sharing with you in all the ways that I have learned to tap into myself and to elevate myself spiritually, consciously, and continue on my path of self development and self aware. Because it's a path that you stay on until the day you leave this earth, right? So, trust in yourself, number one key. You make a mistake, you backtrack, on your meditation, on your path, whatever, on your shadow work. If you're doing your shadow work and you kind of like tell yourself like, no, you validate what you shouldn't validate, that's okay. Okay, those type of behaviors that we have been doing for years is what creates the non-trust, right? But if you notice that while you're on this path you're doing that, that's okay. You have to trust yourself to do it correctly next time. Because if you don't say, you know what, I trust myself that even when I make mistake, I'm going to learn to correct it. I trust myself that even when I make mistake, I will correct it. I trust myself no matter how many times I seem to repeat the same mistake, I am willing and will get it correct, right? That's why self-trust is important, because eventually what it does, it breaks down that wall, that habit, that repetitive behavior, right? Trusting yourself is the key ingredient to really the success of life for yourself, right? In this path, if you don't trust yourself, you can't stay on the path, because the path is about being honest with yourself 100%. And through being honest with yourself, you learn to trust yourself. Through trusting and being honest yourself, you learn to shine as the best version of yourself. Okay? So, trusting yourself, very, very important. Main key. Okay? How then do we learn to trust ourselves? Well, we learn to trust ourselves on this path gradually, little by little. As you make mistakes, you allow yourself and you recognize that that is a mistake you did and you are willing to correct it. And you do. It's hard sometimes to correct it, but you do your best. You put in your best effort to correct the mistake. Okay? Um, Maybe like there are 2, 3 steps to the part of you correcting your mistake, right? For example, when you're doing your shadow work, that's like, so this path of self-development, there are many different paths, right? And I talk about it in all my videos. I break down each path, and that's what I do every week when I give you guys a video. I'm talking about different parts of the path. So the shadow work, which I also have a video on already, and I'm going to go more in depth in that too next time in another video. Whew. And I drank all my water today. Okay, so it's the in this path of you doing this, most crucial is to, while you're doing, I'm sorry, I donated my videos, I give it to you raw. Okay, so during the shadow work, right? For example, you're doing your shadow work. That's the part where you're on this path, right? And that's when you really the honesty kicks in. That's when really the trust within yourself kicks in. That's when you really have to trust yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to make it through the shadow work. Okay, because shadow work is already you not trusting yourself, is what you're working on. Shadow work is already you doubting yourself. Shadow work is already you projecting yourself to others. Shadow work is about you already being dishonest with yourself and lying um, to yourself, not others. Okay, that's what the shadow work is. You try to pull out all those things out of you by being real and 100 to yourself and seeing it for what it is, right? So during this time, if, for example, you notice that you deflect onto others when you feel like you're you're intimidated, right? Or when you feel timid, or when you feel like you notice you get jealous of people, for example. Um, and this what you not trusting yourself. If you do something like this is where you're going to continue to struggle on this path, because you're not trusting yourself, right? Because you're not being honest with yourself. Therefore, subconsciously you're recording that you cannot trust yourself because you're not being honest, right? With yourself. So you're deflecting, and then you as you deflect, you try to, like, you're doing your shadow work, but you notice you're deflecting, but then you're like, no, you make up an excuse for yourself, because we are taught to do that for so long. No, I don't think that was really me. Like, she just acts like she's better than people, right? So, like, I I snapped or I deflect because she actually acts like she's always better than people, right? Or I'm jealous of her, but then I say, no, I'm not jealous of her. She's just a show off, right? That's you not being honest with yourself, because it's not your place to say who's show off and who's not. It's not your place to say whether the person is showing off, or if they think they're better than people or not. That's not for us to do about other people. That's for us to recognize within ourselves, right? So that's what shadow work kind of looks like. So in that moment, if you deflect like that and you made excuses like that, you're now subconsciously recording that, hey, I can't really trust myself because I can't fully be honest and accept what it is for what it is. I can't fully accept that I am deflecting because I don't feel comfortable with that feeling of me knowing that I am actually at the wrong, right? You can't bypass that. But if you can say, okay, I deflected. Oops, I recognized. I just deflected. So, okay, I can't fix it overnight to fully trust yourself, to fully trust myself, right? You can then say, this is how you gradually learn to trust yourself, is the example I'm giving you. So, recognizing that you deflect, step one, like, that is great. Just practicing that even over and over. Forget about actually accepting it. Forget about trying to understand why you deflect, and forget about how that trigger even comes on. See, these are all different steps, right? Forget about all those steps, but just recognizing you deflect, it's a step. It's you getting closer to trusting yourself. And then after a while, maybe you learn, okay, I do see that I'm deflecting. Accepting that you actually do deflect. Not just recognizing it, but accepting it. That that's what you do out of the share of not, the shame of not, accepting, or that feeling of what an exception, of what it feels like to accept that you're deflecting, right? So get into that step like, okay, now I recognize it. Now I accept it. It's a step closer to you trusting yourself fully. Now you're trusting yourself that you can actually trust yourself. You see what I'm saying? That's you getting to the point like, okay, maybe I can trust myself. Maybe I can learn, maybe I can trust myself. Maybe I'm worthy of trusting myself. You're going to recognize that subconsciously, okay? All this is happening subconscious. It's not happening in your conscious mind, okay? Until the day like you actually learn to fully accept yourself, or you get closer at least 50%, you're going to become aware of like what it feels like to actually trust yourself, and to always and always recognize when there's any situation that come up, when that trigger of you not trusting yourself, that feeling of trying to doubt, procrastinate, or make excuses come, you're going to recognize it's because I'm not trusting myself. You see what I'm saying? So you get closer and closer until the day you fully trust yourself. So practicing and trying to recognize when and where you feel though you lack self-trust is very key in how to always trust yourself. And building your self-trust is the number one key to continue to stay on this path, because you learn I can make mistake, I can fix it again, because I am willing to fix it again, because I recognize my mistakes and I want to fix my mistakes. Okay? So I know you can do this, beautiful people. You got this because you are worthy, and I know you can, okay? So stick to this journey, stick with what you're learning, and just practice, practice, practice until you shine like you're supposed to. Okay, beautiful people? Thank you for always being here with me. I'm always grateful to have you here. I love feeding your soul. If you want me to talk more about this subject, elaborative and deeper, feel free to drop me a comment, and I will definitely do that in another video. Now, don't forget to watch my other video, because it always goes hand in hand. All my videos are in the path of self-development, self-aware, and self-growth. Okay, beautiful people? You deserve it. You are worthy to be happy, healthy, and abundant. Okay, so make sure you watch the other videos, and make sure you give these videos a thumbs up if you at least got one thing from this video, because we want to help as much people as possible out there to become the best version of themselves. Okay, beautiful people, there are a lot of people like you and I who are on this path, and they need all of us to help them. I love you, and thank you for being here. You're amazing. Bye.